Good afternoon, class. Today is Tuesday, November the 10th, and I am going to give you a couple of videos reviewing of chapters 16, 17, and 18, hopefully to help you prepare for your exam this week, as well as your evaluation of ideas that you should be completing. As a note for this video, please respond via email that you receive and watch the video by November 15th at 10 p.m. The exact same time that you should have completed your exam. Excuse me. If you probably should watch the video before you take your exam, but that's just me. So, first chapter 16 is on local government. So we just come out of an election. Some things are still up in the air, not real sure why. It is in my most humblest opinion that Vice President Biden is now President-elect Biden with Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. I think there's been more votes cast. More people voted on both sides, which is good because voting is important. So in our local government, you guys may have had some local House of Representatives positions open. I'm not real sure what districts you're in, but not sure if you voted for them. But the politics of local government is very important, and it's something that you should be paying closer attention to, because what happens in Austin is what drives what's going to happen in your community or whatever state you may be in. It is what happens in your capital, your state legislatures, that has a greater impact on your day-to-day life than what happens on a national level. So in our local governments in chapter 16, it just talks about our counties, our cities, our school districts, who's in charge of those things. Texas has 254 counties across the state, and they vary in size and population. The state because of the size of it, there's a lot of demands placed on our county jails, a lot of demands placed on our school systems to improve our education system for our children ages K through 12. There's two rules. One is called the Dillon Rule, and the Dillon Rule allows the states to have authority over local governments. So you have types of cities. Cities are no longer in Texas rural or agricultural. They are municipal cities. And so you have two categories. One is called general law. General law follows that if there's a legislature that has less than 5,000 residents. And so general law, less than 5,000. Home rule means they can adopt any form of government that they choose, and they have to have more than 5,000 residents. So know the difference between general law and home rule law. One, less than 500 residents, they follow general law. More than 5,000 residents, they follow the home rule law. What types of governments do we have in our city government? Texas has three different types of governments. One is mayor council. The second one is city commission. And the third is the city council manager. The council manager. We have over 1,100 municipal governments. 800 of those are mayor council. 287 of those are council manager. The mayor council follows the federal system because it creates a separation of powers. As we should know, we're supposed to have separation of powers, which is why we have three branches of government, which are legislative, judicial, and executive. The two-mayor system, you have what is known as a weak mayor and a strong mayor. That just determines the power of the mayor, if the mayor gets to hire and fire city appointees and things of that nature. But most cities support a system that has a weak mayor. And it's important to know what kind of city government you have, because that was determined when there are elections for city council members, what type of commission will you have. In a mayor council, a strong mayor, it divides the power between executive and a legislative function. Some of your big cities, El Paso and Houston, they have strong mayor systems. It's unpopular because it's connected to what they call those political power machines. and that it could lead more to corruption. When you think of a strong mayor, think of a city like Chicago, think of a city like New York, think of a city like LA. Think of your major big cities, cities that you hear a lot of stuff about, probably have a strong mayor system where the mayor has a lot of power. In the city commission, this form of government dates back to the 1900s, and it comes out of Galveston. The city manager, council manager, this is where the city council sets the policy, but they hire a professional city manager to do the day-to-day administrative duties. I actually applied once for a city manager position in a city. I don't remember what city it was in, though. I was actually considering applying for the one out here in Saxe, but then I decided I didn't really want to work that hard. But those positions are, they're hired into the system. They're not appointed by the manager. As stated, Texas has 254 counties. And in those counties, they're used for collecting of our taxes, regulations, how things are going, infrastructure, our roads, our bridges, the healthiness of our water. Texas has two of the largest counties in the country, and that should be a question that you'll figure out, because I wonder which two is the largest counties. You should know one, because it was on the news a whole lot during the election, and of course that's Harris County, which includes Houston. And finally, out of chapter 16, there's something called MSA, M as in Mary, S as in Sam, A as in Apple. And it is called Metropolitan Statistical Area. And this is a designated area of a region that each city will designate an area to be an MSA, a metropolitan area. The problem with that is that because we've become more urbanized, our rural areas aren't included in some of this, and it has an issue on whether or not they get the services that they need as it relates to housing, education, and air quality control. And so that's the challenge that cities face now by having that designation of an MSA. All right, that concludes chapter 16 on local governments.